Hello, Miss Wen. Welcome back to my channel. Today we will explore an interesting topic: how to analyze documentation. This topic will this topic will be divided into three main parts: analyzing API documentation, analyzing code documentation for functions, and analyzing code documentation for classes and objects. To help you better understanding what I'm talking about, I have done some research on Z concept and combine them with what I have learned in this topic. Okay, now let's explore the first part, analyzing API documentation. When working with the new API, the first thing we should do is carefully examine the endpoint and roles provided in the documentation. This will give you a general overview of what the function offers, what the API offers, and how we can use it for our project. Um, First, identify the endpoint supported by the API along with corresponding HTTP methods like get, post, put, or delete. And next, carefully read the description for each endpoint. This session will provide detailed information on how to use the endpoint and the necessary parameters, the, the, the return type, and finally, don't forget check example provided provided in the documentation. The example is not only uh, have you understand the have you understand the API works, but also guide you in correctly applying the API in your project. Next, let's move on to the next part, analyzing code documentation for the functions. When working with a new library, um, we need to approach the documentation systematically to analyze it effectively. First, pay attention to the function signature. The signature will give you essential information such as function name, the parameter is accept, and the return type. Next, read the detailed information of the function in the documentation. This session will explain the function purpose, how it works, and how to use it in the real-world scenarios. And finally, review the example for provided for pro- review the example provided in the documentation, and the example will help you understand how to use the function properly and avoid the common mistake when calling it in your code. And the last part today is analyzing code documentation for classes and objects. When working with classes and objects, the documentation will complex and difficult to understand. However, if you know how to analyze it, you can grab the structure. You can grab its structure and functionalities of the class. First, start by looking at the class name and properties. The class will the class name will tell you the class is intended to do, while the property will have you will have you understand understand its structure and state. Next, let's check the method and function associated with the class. This method will tells you what is the will tells you the method will tell you how to interact with the class object and what you can achieve by using it. And finally, uh, read the example. No. Finally, carefully read the description of each method. Method can have complex parameters and return values that may not be immediately clear. So understanding how to use them can you can avoid the pitfalls when working with the class. That's all about my speaking today. So I have pick up a lot of knowledge on this topic. See you next videos. See you. Thanks for watching and see you in my next video.